Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, another YouTuber has given me a great idea for a video, VSR, or Virtual Super Resolution. I have a 1440p LG 31.5-inch display on my tower, which is also connected to my iMac. Now my iMac has a real 5K Retina display, whereas with PCs, we can change resolutions at will through the display manager side of things. And so anyways, I've been talking about a video about why Macs are better and cheaper in the long haul over PCs, okay? And of course this just proves my point that much more. This guy was talking to me about VSR, and it's like, well, Macs don't use VSR. It's either the real thing or nothing, baby. And we're definitely going to prove that too. So to get things started out with the biggest fun, let's go to the Mac side here. Now you'll notice that my LG display here says 3840 by 2160. Now that's technically, it's 4K, right? Now LG makes a 4K display exactly like this, with the only difference being you're not going to get the error message. It'll show up for about 30 seconds or so, and the feet are slightly different. Otherwise it's the same, you know, up and down shaft, and all the other features are apparently all the same. And that's a real 4K display, which chick-ching baby. Now my Mac can handle two 4K displays or a single external 6K display without any difficulties. And of course the only thing we lose here is a little bit of the refresh rates on the hertz scale, and we're going to lose that even with the LG display here. You know, it's a 144 hertz display, but when you push it into a 4K level, things, they just go down, right? Especially when you're hooking it into a Mac, which the Mac normally is about a 60 hertz 5K. So when you try and over push this screen, it actually knocks us back to 30 hertz. And you can see that right here. Refresh rate is now 30 hertz. Now the screen itself, yes, it's a 144 hertz screen, and it will run that at its native resolution off of whatever input source it has. And of course we're not inputting 144 hertz off the Mac. So if we switch to its own native resolution off the Mac here to the 1440, now we have 60 hertz or 75 hertz available to us. So we have two levels. But because we're overdriving the display, you know, we're actually able to input a signal much higher, of course, than the 4K, but we're only running a single bus, so we're only pushing the 4. But we can push a single 6. But as soon as we switch over to from 2K into 4K mode, 4K reduces our hertz, but it gives us the resolution, right? So that's fine, and that's real. That's not a virtual thing. That's an automatic thing. This is what the Mac is going to do. That's 4K. That's real 4K in front of your face right now. This isn't virtual super resolution. This is the real deal. The screen can be pushed this hard, and I've suspected it's because they do make a 4K version of it, and the difference is the paranoid and the panties people would actually say, okay, I'll put it back to the other way so that it doesn't hurt anything. Because back in the day, you know, we could push screens all the time, right, to higher resolutions, and when we pushed them beyond what they could handle, CRT screens sucked, but when we did, it would really screw things up really super bad, and a lot of you will remember those good old days, and a lot of us had to actually reload computers clean again to get it back to normal. But anyways, so we're at a real 4K res on the iMac, and of course you are going to expect to lose some hertz. Okay, so let's go back into its native resolution once again, and we're once again okay. Now let's go back to the PC side. So he talked to me about VSR support in my card, because my iMac only has a 2 gig AMD card in it. You know, whereas this thing here has got a gig RX 570 series. So I went looking through my settings, and sure enough, I do have virtual super resolution. Now, as far as AMD FreeSync, this is a FreeSync monitor, but because that feature is currently turned off on the screen itself, it does say not supported, but I should be able to turn it on and get support. But FreeSync does some screen flickering crap, and it's like, I don't want that. So virtual super resolution, I enabled this because it wasn't enabled. And it says it allows applications to render at resolutions higher than the display's native pixel grid, and then scales the images down to fit the display. It produces higher quality visuals at the expense of performance. Choose a higher than native resolution in an application to take advantage of VSR. Now, if anybody understands even the word virtual, you know that virtual means not real. We have VR, right? Virtual headsets, virtual reality. It's not real. It's a fake overlay. It makes us think and believe we're getting something, but we're really not getting the real thing. And that is exactly what virtual super resolution is, because when enabled, okay, yes, you can go to 5K with this display, and no, you will not get an error. I can jump right back to the 2K level. It says, do you want to keep this stuff? Yes, I do. So let's keep it. Let's go to 30, well, what's the next one up here it's going to let me have? So 3840 by 2160. Okay, so technically 4K, but I'm not seeing any real change here in the display. Go to 5K. Now at 5K, I should definitely see changes where icons get extremely small, you know, and I would expect that because the higher the resolution, the smaller everything gets. However, they said change the text size, apps and others. 200% is recommended. So if we went to 100%, now this looks more realistic of what a 5K resolution should look like. Although this is still not real. This is fake. Yes, you can change your video games over so that they can go to higher resolution if they support it. And Far Cry does support the 5K. I switched it over actually, and you know, graphically it does look a little bit better, okay, because it's supposed to. It's supposed to enhance things. But it is not real 5K resolution, okay? It is definitely virtual or fake. So if we go back to 200% recommended, of course we get to see things more. If this was a real 5K feature and the monitor could do actual 5K, which it cannot, which we'll show you next, then it would automatically just default to the smaller icons, smaller, tighter, crisper text, and it would give you the appearance of a larger desktop because of the higher resolution. And you would expect that because that's the real deal. So if we go into advanced display settings here, active signal resolution, 2560 by 1440. That is the signal that the card is able to push. Okay? Has nothing particularly to do with the monitor, but that's the maximum signal that it can actually push out of this card on the display port at 4 gigs of RAM. So it is not able to actually push real 5K. Now it does say the desktop resolution is in 5K, but because of the enhancements you are doing, even though it's a fake overlay, is what it is, you will take a hit on your refresh rate, and you will be stuck at 60 hertz, period. Okay? So, out of 144 hertz this display normally runs at, we suffer performance, as it says it will. It says it will suffer performance. Now, I don't know about you, but I can game just fine at 60 hertz. Most gamers are 60 to 75 hertz. We're generally really comfy with that. 75 and better is usually where we're preferred, but 60 hertz you can game just fine. Okay, and 60 hertz is actually the native hertz for 5K on the Mac. Well, on my iMac at least, because it's a 5K iMac. But we are over pushing things and putting an overlay on without actually using the display, because you'll notice that error didn't come up. saying that, oh, you're overdoing something, because it can't anyways under normal circumstances. This monitor can't go beyond properly, okay, without an error showing, and we'll get to that. So now I'm like, okay, I want to disable this. So if I disable VSR, now you'll see desktop resolution is 2560 by 1440. Active signal is the same. Our refresh rate is now going back up to 144 hertz, because now we've released it from doing all that. So you are going to suffer a little bit of performance, but you are going to enhance things graphically. But it's still a fake out. It's not real, okay? So let's go in, and what I want to do is I want to run Far Cry for a minute with you guys at the stock setup. Okay, now, if we go back here, what happens? We can't go beyond. It's not going to allow us to go beyond with this computer. This computer says, no, recommended, this is what you get, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and we know what it's pushing, we know what it's actually doing. So let's leave these windows open, but let's go up and fire up Far Cry for a moment. I've actually started playing it over again from scratch. I can't get enough of Far Cry, because you can do it different ways every time and different routes, and you know, it keeps me entertained anyways, and besides, I love the game. Now, the last time I ran Far Cry today, I had set the graphic up for 5K. So we're going to go to options, go to video. So now it's defaulted itself back. It knows. Okay, now if we look at the highest that it supports, right now it's only going to support 1440. Okay, so we know we're all good there. So let's go to our campaign. Let's load a checkpoint. Now, not 4K, my bad, 2K. So we're at 2K level here, and so 1440, and it does look quite nice, and I tell you, it's a lot better than 1920 by 1080, that's for darn sure. You know, so by far, it's great. So keep an eye on the look of the screen, keep an eye on the looks of everything that's about to happen, and then we're going to quit, and we're going to go back into that VR mode. So turn our flashlight off here. So you notice a bit of the grass here. Notice the coloration, how vibrant it may or may not be, that sort of thing.
You see that? It's him! What was that? Over there! I'll get him!
Expected him. I'm getting way too good at this game. Yeah, you think? Alright, that's enough. So, let's go into VR. Enable VR. Alright, go to 5K. Keep. And Far Cry. Now we should notice some enhancements graphically. Some. And it also does all this freaky stuff too. So it's like, okay, well, whatever. Just let it do its thing. Options, video, top end. 5120 by 2880, 32-bit. Now remember, we're also knocked back to 60 hertz now instead of 144. Apply. Main menu, campaign, port. And let's see how things go now. It looks a little nicer. Now some people may be happy with VR because it saves you a lot of money from buying a 5K real display and a card that can actually push 5K out of it. But nothing beats 5K in reality though. But this is a fake way of doing it.
We have a slight problem, Jack. Looks like they've locked down the door to the comm center.
That's not good. What the hell do you...
Okay, I don't want to start there. Let's go back here. Alright, turn the flashlight off. Now, things you'll notice look a little nicer. Grass looks more nicer. Rocks even look a little nicer. So things do look a little bit better. Now I'm not going to suffer much performance anyways because I'm running a Ryzen 7 system here, so it kicks butt. But
What was that?
that was me saying, "You're done." Oh, I missed you? Come on. Hey, where are you?
I'll take you down.
Oh yeah? I'll take you down too.
I'm gonna put you down. Come on. Flush him
So
out.
things really do look a lot nicer. Like, look at that leaf. I mean, it does enhance things.
Scared, huh?
Me scared? No.
Take it.
Oh, dead. Okay, so we get that we can do this. We do get that this does graphically enhance things a little bit, which is fine, you know, but it's still fake. It's virtual, you know, so there's a reason why something would be locked as far as this goes. Yes, you can do a virtual overlay that gives you that appearance, but it's really not real 5K, you know. I mean, if this was a real 5K display and it was a real card that could do 5K, you would expect more like this, okay? And I mean, those icons are really flippin' tiny, but you would actually expect them to be just a hair bit bigger, actually. You'd be somewhere probably more like about that. Is about what it would be if it was really, truly 5K. But it's not actually 5K. And it says here, some apps won't respond to scaling changes until you close and reopen them. Now, I'll tell you this much. My screen on my Mac is native 5K all the time. It don't matter what I launch, it doesn't have a problem. Okay, and if the game supports 5K, it'll run it in 5K. If it doesn't support it in 5K, the game is not going to be able to run in 5K, even though the Mac can. And it actually is a 5K Retina displayed Mac. But it can downscale if it needs to automatically and then re-upscale later, that sort of thing. But, you know, and we have other features available to us now in Big Sur that we didn't have in previous operating systems. However, there is no virtual super resolution going on an Apple computer, okay? Unless, of course, you're running Windows 10 on it and you access that feature. Well, okay, you're running Windows 10 on a Mac. It's expected you're going to get the same capabilities there. But Mac OS, no, it's not virtual. 5K is 5K, 6K, 6K, and so on and so on. You know, this display is a 1440 display. As we know, it's 2K resolution. Can the Mac push it to 4K? Yes. Do we get an error? Yes. Why? Because it's technically not supposed to be running in 4K, but it can do it without causing harm, okay, which we've talked about in the previous video. Virtual is just that. It is virtual. It is fake. It is not real. If you ran a VR headset before, you know you're not in reality. It's fake. It's cool. It looks nice, but it's not real, right? So, but when you're faking an overlay like this, you won't get an error by switching to different resolutions, okay? Now, when we turn off the VSR, okay, the system is locked completely because it's a 14.4 monitor to begin with, which we know we can push higher off the Mac for real. This we have to fake it. To fake it, it uses a lot of your extra GPU performance in order to do that. That is why your hertz are getting knocked back. You are pulling a lot of extra out of your card, you know. As far as, actually, let's go to performance. My temperatures are fine. We're not getting any extra temperature increase because we're faking it. But you know, it's nice to be able to get a bit better view on our computers, but there's nothing that beats the real deal. You know, and I'd rather run 5K resolution on a game at a real 5K at that 60 hertz than to overlay fake it, because that also does affect gameplay a little bit too, you know. So that's something you got to be expecting as well. It does suffer some things for sure. But other than that, that's VSR, kids, and that's exactly what VSR does. So back to the Mac. Now I run this display with my Mac because I want to just sit at one desk and just do everything. So I have my Mac hooked into this. But if we go back, we see that natively here, we can push this, right? Now, if we do the best resolution for the LG, it is going to keep it at 2560 by 1440. So, because we can go best for LG. And voila! This is what we get. So, this is 2K. Quad HD. Whoa! Anyways, but we have the option. We can actually just, go and do what we want kind of thing. And we can overdrive it a bit. Doesn't matter, I don't mind overdriving it. As far as setting features go, game modes, FreeSync. Now, FreeSync is a feature that provides seamless and natural images in gaming environment. Note that the screen flicker may occur intermediately in a specific gaming environment. So, although FreeSync has some good points to it, it can cause flickering, which could actually get you killed in a game. So, I leave it turned off. So, this thing actually gave up on giving me the error. I wonder why. Maybe I did a setting change somewhere in here. Game adjust. Aspect ratio. 1:1, full wide, no. HDMI compatibility mode is off. Hey, let's see what happens when we turn that on. Probably won't be anything good. No, we're still, ooh, interesting. Going to compatibility mode. We lost access. Well, I'll be darned. So we actually lost our access to going into 4K. Well, that's not acceptable. And it's back again. Well, there's something interesting. 30 hertz. Okay, so before we go, let's try something else. Let's go back to the PC here. Display port. That's enabled. Oh, interesting. It's blacked out, so we can't access it. Okay, well, at least we know. That's kind of interesting. Amazing what you learn when you mess around with the buttons. So there you go, guys. That's your VSR stuff. That's what it's about. That's what it does. So if you can't afford a 5K display, a real one, and a real card to push a 5K display, then sure, do the virtual super resolution deal. I think it does make a difference as far as it does show the games better. It will give you some other graphic enhancements, which is fine. You are going to suffer performance, but at least you're not going to burn out your video card, right? And that's a good thing, you know, because generally when you would overdrive a screen before, even if it did support it to a certain extent, you could burn your video card out. I know a few people have burnt out a few video cards third party with third party drivers trying to push them harder than what they should be. Though the screen supported it, the card really didn't like doing it, even though it said it could, you know, and you know, it can cook your card. What VSR is going to do to your card in the long haul, I really don't know. You are definitely choking down your hertz availability to the screen, so that's a screen thing. What you're doing to the card and all, I don't know, because you know you are making it do something that, yes, it's designed to do, but what are the ramifications of doing this? That we don't know in the long haul. So I'll have to do some more experimenting with it. I do know that when I push this into a full 4K mode with my Mac, I've had absolutely zero issues. And I do like the fact that I can do that and get away with it, even though that error box will come up, you know, and bother me. But at least it's gone in 30 seconds. Doing this is native right now. The way we have it set up is native at 1440, which is great for the display. I actually don't mind the games, but you know, especially at 144 hertz refresh, I do find that Far Cry definitely does look better with having the pushing it to the 5K. The game says it'll do 5K now. And I'm sure the game knows well enough it's an overlay that is faked out, but it's enough that it does it. You know, I mean, the game really actually doesn't do much different. It says it can now support a higher res because it sees a higher res, even though it's fake. But, you know, to each their own. But anybody who says that this is real true 5K is kind of off the rocker, because this is not what 5K really is. Okay, it's not even close. But it does have some benefits to doing it. That I would definitely agree with. You know, so I will not argue that. But like I said, I don't know what the long-term ramifications are going to be if you just use it like that all the time. I'll have to do some testing and keep an eye on things, keep an eye on heat levels on the card, all that sort of stuff, and actually see what happens. But yeah, so there you go. So if you're ever wondering what VSR really truly is, that's what VSR is. Do Apple computers use VSR? Absolutely not. Apple does it for real, or they don't do it at all. So there you go. Anyways, catch you on the next one. Bye.